Shah Rukh.
जादू तेरी नजर खुशबू तेरा बदन तू हाँ कर
Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage. I have reviewed more than 400 indie movies on the channel, and since this year marks a big comeback for Shah Rukh Khan, I want to talk about one of his most important star-making films, which also celebrates its 30th anniversary. And that film is the 1993 Hindi language romantic psychological thriller Darr. It was directed and produced by Yash Chopra, and it stars Shah Rukh Khan, Juhi Chawla and Sunny Deol. Though they are listed in the opposite order, because the actual hero of the story is actually played by Sunny Deol, and this is one of the few movies in which Shah Rukh Khan played a negative or downright villain role. Interestingly enough, those negative roles were all in his first few successful films. Anjam in 1994 and before that Bazigar and Darr in 1993. Apparently, initially the villain role was offered to Sunny Deol, but he refused. But then later, after the movie's release, he was upset because the other role was the stronger one. And indeed, it is Shah Rukh Khan who absolutely shines in this and makes the movie such a powerful sensation. He plays Rahul, a young man who is completely obsessed with a woman, Kiran, played by Juhi Chawla, who is in love and about to marry another man, Sunil, played by Sunny Deol. Darr, which translates to fear, is a dark psychological thriller that involves stalking, psychological terror and even murder. And it also becomes very violent and bloody towards the end. And yet, it's still also a big 90s Bollywood movie, and I think this makes it so special. It's a sinister genre film and yet a big commercial movie with many of those Bollywood idiosyncrasies you either love or hate. Picturesque location shootings in Switzerland, wonderful song and dance numbers, the one and only Lata Mangeshkar as a playback singer, a gorgeous looking leading lady, the celebration of Holi, a comic relief in form of Anupam Kher, some bizarre coincidences, a runtime of 3 hours, that certain surreal vibe or lack of logic and realism, and above all, those big emotions. And I loved it for all of that. Maybe I could have lived without the strange introduction of Sunny Deol's character Sunil, in which they just blatantly use the Top Gun anthem and then show him as a Navy officer who just kills a bunch of terrorists. It felt very heavy-handed and a bit lame. And this action schlock beginning, combined with the whole concept of an obsessed psychopath, makes it a bit funny to me that the movie won the National Film Award in the category of Best Popular Film providing wholesome entertainment. Yeah, pretty wholesome. Darr became a huge success and was applauded by critics and the audience alike. I was hooked right from the get-go. Big images, big gestures, big emotions. The unapologetically male gaze that lies on our beautiful, sensual leading lady Kiran, surrounded by those big and lush images of the Swiss countryside. Then, the very first thing that we get from our antagonist Rahul, a creepy voiceover saying, "Kiran, I love you." Something that will get repeated again and again throughout the movie. And then we get this beautiful and at the same time haunting song, Jadoo Teri Nazar, which translates to "Your eyes are magical." And our protagonist Kiran thinks it's her boyfriend Sunil who has visited her in Switzerland and sings a song from someplace hidden. It's so surreal, so filmic, and such a great introduction to what the movie is all about. This pathological obsession of a man for a woman who not only doesn't return his love, but for a long time doesn't even know about that man's obsession for her. In a way, this picturesque and at the same time morbid beginning reminded me of genre movies like those Italian gialli by Dario Argento. Those lush colors and a somewhat artificial feeling. And here it gets that Bollywood treatment, and that's awesome. Movies like this need strong motives, especially if they are about an obsession, which serial killer movies usually are. And here, one of those strong motives can be a song as well. And that first one, Jadoo Teri Nazar, becomes like the calling card of our antagonist Rahul. It is repeated many times throughout the movie and it gets stuck in your head. There's this sequence where Rahul appears out of nowhere at the birthday of Kiran and then he suddenly vanishes again. Only to his voice then coming up again, singing part of this song again. And again, it's such a surreal moment, because something like this would simply not work in real life. but in a film about love and obsession, it's quite powerful, and I also just haven't seen anything like this before. A dark psychological thriller musical. There's also this other very iconic scene in which Rahul is in his room, or lair, where he always projects the image of his loved one on his walls, where he fantasizes about Kiran, and we then get this 2-minute long obsession dance dream sequence. Again, the male gaze couldn't be stronger, and in the confinements of a big Indian movie, this is as sensual and sexual as you can get. There's an exploitative vibe to it, but when it comes to movies like this, I'm all there for it. Just all the water that is pouring down on her, it just looks incredible. It's also something that returns for the finale, and it's very archaic storytelling, like a storm of love and obsession and violence. The whole finale is also kind of reminiscent of the climax in Cape Fear. There's a raw energy to many scenes, and especially to Shah Rukh Khan's performance, which is really incredible. He plays such a troubled young man who is even willing to kill people for his obsession. And yet, because it's Shah Rukh Khan and he's so endearing, there's also a small part of you that wants to sympathize with him, which in itself is troubling, but also kind of perfect for a genre psychothriller like this. Sunny Deol and his character Sunil can't quite compete with the fascination of Shah Rukh Khan's Rahul, but after that pretty stupid Navy introduction, I was positively surprised that Sunny Deol isn't a complete wash either. There's certainly some chemistry between him and Juhi Chawla, and it fits this archetypical constellation that he's first and foremost a big and brute protector kind of man. And then it also fits that we as the audience might also sympathize for Shah Rukh Khan's obsessive, but still somewhat tender and lovesick persona, even though we know it's wrong, but it's also just a movie. How the story unfolds here is pretty nice. It takes all the time in the world, as I said, it's 3 hours long, but it nonetheless develops the characters and situations further, and it's intriguing and sinister and therefore quite entertaining how Rahul tries to get close and how he tries to befriend Sunil. Because obviously in the world of the movie everyone is somehow connected, and Rahul's father happened to be Sunil's captain at the Navy. I also have to mention the pretty incredible chase scene by foot that happens in the middle section of the movie. It has such a raw energy, and both Sunny Deol and Shah Rukh Khan are running like the characters' lives depend on it, which is kind of true. There's just something about watching people run as fast as they can, through streets, jumping over walls, pushing other people out of the way and stuff like that. It's just kinetic, and it's accompanied by these very driving fast beats. And last but not least, I should probably mention the music one more time. The soundtrack was composed by the duo Shifari, and while Jadoo Teri Nazar is certainly the best and most iconic song and kind of the movie's anthem, the rest of the songs are also pretty neat, with a wonderful holy song and dance number and a striking dream sequence towards the end, which is the only time that Rahul can be united with Kiran. Darr is one of those movies where even the flaws can't really diminish the sheer power of this big and somewhat crazy movie making. And in a movie industry that's very focused or obsessed with love stories, it's just awesome to see one that's pushed to the limits and shows the dark side of it as well. So, in German I'd say, Darr hat bei mir einfach einen Nerv getroffen. Ein überlanges, völlig filmisches, brutales Psychothriller Märchen im Gewand eines üppigen Bollywood Streifens und mit einem grandiosen Shah Rukh Khan als ikonischen, tragischen Bösewicht. I give Darr 8 out of 10. It's more like 8.1, but I don't do that.
तू हाँ कर या ना कर, तू है मेरी किरण, तू है मेरी किरण.
Alright, that's it like always. Comment below and let me know what you think about Darr. You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram and Letterboxd, and also on Patreon, simply at TheJimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.